Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today's video we're gonna cover part 2 on how to scroll map properly. So if you saw our last tutorial, essentially we're gonna cover the issue with whenever your direct items are on the edge of the maps and the offset that happens because of that. And we're gonna fix that little part issue. If you haven't checked the first part, then I highly recommend you do so, otherwise you'll be at a total loss of what's happening in here. The link is inside the video description right below, so just click there and enjoy before coming back to this part 2 tutorial. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so if you saw the first part, then you know exactly why this part 2 exists. Essentially, we are having a trouble whenever the door is standing on the edge, or even the character itself is standing on edges of maps, and that gives us an offset on our automation of the scroll mapping. Now, what we're gonna do today is that we're going to fix it through complicated mathematics. No, I'm just kidding. It's not gonna be that complicated, but I'm expecting people to at least went through high school mathematics in order to be able to at least understand that part. So it shouldn't be that hard. But sorry, that's how it goes. If you don't like maths, then just copy paste the exact same code I'm gonna write for you, and it should work just fine. Okay, so our first step for today is going to be an unorthodox one, because the code itself I'm gonna show you will not work if you make an exact copy pasting of what I am about to show you, for one single reason. And that reason is somewhere inside the system. There we go. That's the reason itself. The screen width and the screen height of our game essentially is what's causing us a lot of problem, because essentially the cause of a problem for the scrolling happens whenever the character itself reaches the edge of the map. So that means that at this point for me, this is when the edge happens, and this is where I need to calculate the offset distance, like from this to right over there, before moving on. So that is because this value needs to be subtracted in some situation whenever the target or the arrow is standing in. And the problem is that this distance is going to be different if you play with the screen width and screen height, essentially. What I'm going to do is I'm going to alter it to, well, the most obvious, well, most frequent screen ratio that we encounter. I think it's still accurate, the 1440 by 1080. Technically, that's supposed to be the most frequent resolution that people has. And because of that, what happens is that, as you can see, I'm standing in the middle of the screen, and I'm also on the edge of both maps, like because my map is not large enough. And because of that issue, we are going to be, well, it's going to be impossible for you to exactly copy paste my code for it to work. So the way that we're gonna handle it essentially is that for each and every one of you, you're gonna need to make your own test depending of the value that you use over here. For my own uses, I'm gonna go with the default value, but if you ever change this, you're gonna need to, essentially what you're gonna have to do is calculate what is the amount of cases before you reaches the edge of your map. So essentially, if I go there, okay, and so that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so my offset will be 9 because this one works too. So basically the first case itself, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my offset will be for the horizontal at least 9 cases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can do the exact same thing from the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and from there the camera will start moving. So yeah, so horizontally it's 9 cases, and vertically is how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, So it's 7 vertically and 9 horizontally. And so these values, we're gonna store them inside the variables in our new script so that they can be easily modifiable without having to worry too much about breaking anything. Note somewhere, calculate it the exact same way I did, note the value somewhere, and then you'll be able to essentially copy paste almost every single code I'm gonna write. Or even better, if you can understand it for yourself so that you can alter it, that will be even better. But essentially what we're gonna do today is create, once again, 2 new common events. One is gonna be to calculate camera X distances offset, and the other one is going to be calculate camera Y distances offset. Okay, which basically, so it's going to calculate the amount of spaces between each edges depending of the position. Because right now there's a couple of scenario which needs to be taken into account for each one of them. So right now there's essentially 9 possibilities of what can happen with the positioning of your hero and the target for the scroll mapping. The first 3 possibilities is that if the target is on the left edge of the map, and then depending on where the hero is, so is he standing on the left edge, is it on the right edge, or somewhere inside the middle. Now, if the target itself is inside the middle, and once again, if the hero is on the left, on the middle, or on the right, and once again, if the door is on the right edge, and if the hero is on the right edge, the middle, and the left edge instead. So that is in order the 9 possibilities for calculating the camera X distances offset. We also have the exact 9 possibilities for the Y value. So if it's entirely at the top or entirely at the bottom, and also where the hero is standing itself on the map. So because of that, it means that the mathematics behind like the way we're going to do the calculations are going to be different in all of those 9 scenarios. So we're going to need to code for all 9 possibilities, essentially is what it means. So, all right, let's get started and start with the calculate camera X distances. First part we're going to do is we are going to create again a new variable, which I'm going to call the right edge of map camera offset. And essentially this value is the right edge, essentially like where can the camera position itself before it touches the edge of the right edge of the map. So the value of this is going to be first set to the size of our map, the map width, because that returns the amount of cases. And then we're going to subtract the amount of cases we previously calculated horizontally. So that means that we're going to copy paste this and subtract the value that's one of the rare constants we're going to see me write inside coding, but the constant 9 essentially. And so we're going to know that exactly. So no matter what is the size of your map, we know that if the camera touches the map size, in our case 29 minus 9, essentially this spot, so it means that entirely we are able to see the edge, and whatever movement happens inside the scroll map past this point needs not to be taken into account, because then it's going to screw up everything. All right. Now, of course, we don't need to do this with the left edge, because we know exactly that the map width is, of course, 0 on the left. So we already have the value itself of 9 cases for the left edge as well. So we know exactly where, no matter what is the size of your map, for the left edge, we know the value is always going to be 9 no matter what, unless you have an excessively tiny map. Okay. So if the camera destination X, whoops, that's a switch. So the camera destination X is smaller or equal to 8. So basically the offset minus 1. That means that, do I need to do an else branch in this? Yeah, I need to, yeah. Okay, so essentially, we're gonna have a lot of comments, otherwise you're gonna lose yourself somewhere inside that code, because that's gonna be a substantial amount interesting paragraph. So essentially what it means is that if the target is on left edge of map, and we're going to paste that. And also, we're also going to have a new condition where if the arrow itself, arrow x, is smaller or equal to 8. So essentially, now once again, the 8 is the value of your offset of the map. So previously, the value previously calculated in horizontally, in my case it was 9 minus 1. So if your value is 14, then this value here shall be 13. So if the value is for arrow x is smaller or equal to 8, that means that if the arrow is also standing on the left edge of the map, if that happens, then we need to not move at all the camera horizontally, because the camera is already set on the edge of the map. And so what we're going to do is that the camera destination, is it destination? No, the camera move horizontal variable is going to be set to 0 in this case, because we don't want it to move at all when we're going to call move to target, because we're already, like, both items are already on the edge of the map. So horizontally, there's nothing to do there at all. Okay, so that's for the first part, the first of the 9 possibilities. So as you can see, not that bad. It's just that you need to input the correct values at the right places, so be super careful. Now, inside the else of the arrow over here, so under the else, we're going to have a new condition, which is going to be that if the arrow x position is bigger or equal to the right edge of map variable that we just created right over here. And I'm going to have also an else. Now, the reason why we check this is that we want to know if the arrow itself is standing on the right edge of the map. So if he is, then leave a comment. Then we need to readjust as well the movement that the camera is going to need to do, because we need to subtract the offsets from both sizes, because now the camera is going to move from somewhere on the right edge and it's going to go on the left edge essentially, since now inside that condition we already assumed that the destination of the item is on the left edge and the arrow is standing on the right edge. And so we need to calculate the amount of spaces that the camera needs to do between both edges, and and that is going to be the value that the camera is going to move. Now, in order to do this, essentially we're going to set the camera move horizontal variable to the value of the offset -1, so it's going to be set to 8. And then we're going to set the camera move horizontal. We're going to subtract the variable of the right edge of map camera, and by doing this, essentially we are getting the perfect distances between both edges that the camera can move without interfering with anything. And that is if the arrow is on the right edge of map. And finally, the last condition is if the arrow is in the middle of map, of course. And if that happens once again, then what we're going to do is once again set the camera movement for the offset calculations, because the target is still on the left edge. And we're gonna subtract the position of our arrow x, and that will give us the exact amount that the camera needs to move in x position in order to reach out the center of our object on the left edge of the map. And it's that simple for the first 3 conditions. All right, so if now the camera destination is not on the left edge of the map, we're going to need essentially to check the exact same thing once again. So inside the else, what we have is if the camera destination is smaller than the right edge of the map, that means that it's not on the left edge, and so it's not on the right edge. So essentially it means that it's somewhere inside the middle. So if the camera destination x, whoops, I set variables, my bad. So if camera destination x is smaller or equal to the right edge of map, then it's somewhere inside the middle. And so what we're going to do is we're going to input the exact same logic for this case. So if target is in the in the middle. And then we're gonna check with the arrow wherever it's standing. So I'm pretty sure we can copy paste this without any problem. Seems like it. So we're gonna check if the arrow is on the left edge, in the middle, or in the right edge, and we're gonna recalculate the maths if that is the case. So let's copy paste this right below the comment. Okay, now if the camera destination is somewhere in the middle, if the arrow is on the left edge of the map, then what we need to do is that if the camera move, or the camera move horizontal is going to be the camera destination itself. So we're gonna set it. Camera move horizontal. It's gonna be set to the camera. Camera destination is destination X. There we go. So we set it to this value, and then we're going to subtract it by 8, which is the offset -1. Good. So it's that simple for the left edge. Now, if the arrow itself is on the right edge of the map, then the camera movement is also going to be the same. So it's going to start the exact same way. So camera destination. And then the camera move horizontal is then going to be subtracted by the right edge of the camera camera rate offset. Why? Whoops, I just realized this little issue. Camera offset. There we go. So it's going to subtract to the value of the right edge of camera offset, and that will give us the exact distance between the two objects once again. And we're going to also do it for if it's inside the map, inside the middle. It's going to be camera move horizontal, equal to the camera destination. So if the arrow is in the middle of the map, then we're going to set the camera move horizontal is equal to the camera destination X, and we're going to subtract the portion of the arrow. So essentially, both items are inside the middle of the map, and we only got to calculate the rough distance for the X-axis. We're going to copy paste once again the 3 possible scenarios for the arrow, and we're going to adjust the camera movement horizontal accordingly. So if the target is on the right edge of the map, and if the arrow is on the left edge of the map, then the camera move horizontal is going to be equal to the right edge of map camera offset, and then we're going to subtract it by 8 because of that offset, and that's pretty much it. Now if the arrow is on the right edge of the map and the item itself is on the right edge of the map, then no movement needs to occur, so camera move horizontal is going to be set to 0. And if the arrow is inside the middle of the map for some reason, then what we're going to have is a camera move horizontal is going to be the right edge of map once again. And we're also going to subtract the camera move horizontal by the position of the arrow. And that once again will give us the exact movement we need to do. And that's it for the camera calculations for the axis position. So now that common event is going to be called inside the camera move to target right before the loop. So inside my common events right over here, camera calculate camera X distance offset. Gonna press OK. And we're also gonna do the exact same thing for the Y. There we go. And now the only thing we need to do is pretty much the exact same thing for the Y's location so we're gonna do the exact same process. And that is mostly the main reason why I decided to make a 2-part video. Now I'm sure you understand. So let's go. We're almost there. Now what we're gonna need to do is the bottom edge of the map. So bottom edge of map camera offset is gonna be set to the variable map size, map height. There we go. By the way, did I set to map width earlier, or did I make a mistake? No, map width, perfect. And then once again, we're gonna subtract it by the value of the offset of the camera vertically, which earlier we pre-established was the value 7. So I'm gonna subtract it by the constant 7. It might be a different number for you, but if you're using the exact same parameters that we saw at the beginning of the video, that should be it. Now, if the camera destination position X, whoops, that switches. Sorry about that. So, if the camera destination Y is bigger or equal to the bottom edge of the camera offset, then it means I'm gonna have a house branch here. Then it will mean that our item, the target, is on the bottom edge of the map. Is on bottom edge. Whoa, there we go. And so once again, we're going to check all three possibilities with our arrow. Now, the first condition will be if the arrow Y position is bigger or equal to the right edge, bottom edge of the camera offset, which is, and I'm gonna have else, of course. So essentially, the arrow itself is also on the bottom edge, in which case, the camera movement, vertical, is gonna be equal to the constant 0. Now, if it's not, then we're gonna check if the arrow is on the top edge of the map. And to do this, essentially what we're gonna need to do is if the arrow Y is smaller or equal to the offset -1, so 6 in our case, since our offset is value 7. And that will mean that the arrow is on the top edge of the map. And if he is, then we're going to calculate basically the control variable, camera move vertical, is going to be equal to the bottom edge of the camera offset, if I'm not mistaken. And then we're going to subtract the value of the offset -1. So subtract value 6. And finally, if the arrow is in the middle. And if it is inside the middle, then we're going to do is the camera move vertical is the bottom edge of the map minus the position Y of our arrow. And that will give us the exact distance between both. Whoops, minus. There we go. All right, so that's the first possibility out of 3. Now we're also going to need to check if the camera destination Y is smaller or equal to the offset, so -1, so 7 -1, so create else branch. If you want, you could also go with strictly smaller and give the exact offset, but I just rather do it this way. So, but both are good methods. So it's essentially it's whatever you want. So the target, that means that our target is in the bottom edge of the map. So target is on bottom edge of the map. And then we're going to check for all 3 conditions with our arrow over here. So I'm just going to copy paste this over there. And so if the arrow is on the bottom edge of the map and the target is on the bottom edge of the map. I'm sorry, no, it's not bottom. My bad. So it will mean that the target is on the top of the map. My apologies. Getting that's a lot of maths in a short amount of time, so I'm getting a bit confused. So if the camera destination X, destination Y, whoa, doing so many mistakes. Did I do any other mistakes like this? Okay, no, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna focus a bit more now. So if the camera destination Y is smaller or equal to the offset -1, then that means the target is on the top edge of the map. Then I'm gonna check if the arrow is in the bottom edge of the map. If it is, then the camera move vertical is gonna be equal to the offset -1. So camera move vertical, offset -1, so that's 6. And then we're going to subtract the value of the bottom edge camera offset. And that will give us the exact amount of movement that we need to do. Now, if the arrow is on the top edge of the map as well, then that means obviously that nothing needs to happen. So the camera move vertical is going to be set to 0. And if the arrow is somewhere inside the middle, then the camera move vertical needs to be equal to the offset -1. And then subtract by the position of the arrow Y. And finally, we're going to need one less else, which in this case will mean that the target is inside the middle. target is in the middle. And it's which is, we're also going to copy paste one more time the arrows conditions. So this over here going to get pasted right over there. So now if the target is inside the middle, if the arrow is in the bottom edge of the map, then the move vertical is going to be the camera destination X. So set to the camera destination Y. And then we're going to move vertically. Camera move vertical is going to be subtract by the bottom edge of the camera offset. And that's good. I think that it already was, but yeah, just want to make sure. Now the camera, if the arrow is on the top edge as well, and the target is inside the middle, then the camera move vertical needs to be equal to the camera destination Y. Well, set variable camera destination Y. And then we're going to subtract by the offset vertical. So once again, it's going to be 6. And finally, the last one condition, and then we're done, I promise, is the arrow is in the middle. Then we're going to set the camera move vertical is equal to the camera destination Y. And then we're going to subtract by the position of the arrow Y. And now this beautiful common event is also going to be called right over here. And we're done. Apply. Okay. Make sure to save. And that was it. Okay. I'm sorry. This one looked a little bit more painful than I anticipated. But if you made it through this video, you are a champion. You are the real deal. And I want to congratulate you for this. You now have an amazing script, which we're going to test a little bit and mess around with this just for the pure fun sake. So let's make a couple tests just to confirm that it works. So let's go with both on the left edge. And I'm gonna press that button. Boom, it's gonna go right over there and it's gonna come back right over to my beginning position. Now I can move this right over here. And let's just mess around a little bit more. So now it's gonna go to the top left corner, come back to the bottom right. And once again, it works, and that is fantastic. And let's go with, I don't know, let's put it inside the middle and have him maybe somewhere over there just for, no, actually, you know what? It's always been in the middle. So let's put that one over here. The arrow's gonna be top left corner. And let's try it once more. And you shall see that it works. And there we go. Now we don't have any more offset issues or whatever it is. It is all dealt with by our amazing common events that we have previously set. And you can now usually properly scroll the map as much as you like without busting your head on calculating every single time whenever you need to make small mutations or have a scrolling to your game. All you need to do is call that easy common event, move to target and move to arrow, and all the rest will do it on its own. Alright, so that is it for the scrolling properly part 2. You now have absolute control on how easy it is, and it works amazing for your project. So congratulations if you made it through all of these calculations, which was a little insane and not the most interesting part to watch. And so please make sure to like if you made it through. Let me know in the comments if you made it through. I want to know, like, literally, like, just write me down. I made it through, and so I can congratulate you personally. I want to know how many people did it. And also, if you'd like to have more content, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, I'll see you later for a new video. Bye! Goodbye.